In today's video, we're going to be talking about advanced semen retention techniques. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be lost. It just is what it is. You're going to be lost, and that's fine. Because what I want you to do is I don't want you to understand these things. I just want you to sit back, absorb the information, and when you're ready to process it, when you're ready to implement it in your life, your brain's going to be like, hey, remember this? And you'll be like, oh my God, yes, I remember it, and let me use it. Right? For others, you guys need this talk because you're at that point in your journey to where you have to enter certain spaces that you don't think you're ready for, but you're ready for because you have to learn certain truths. So it's going to be a little dark, but darkness doesn't always mean bad. Just like light doesn't always mean good. Too much light will blind you and things grow in the dark. Ask a tree. Okay. So but before we get into this, you guys know what time it is. It's that cardio time, baby. All right, let's get to it. So let me lay the groundwork first. Semen retention is energy. More specifically, sexual energy, and more specifically, creation energy. You use this energy to create anything in the world that you want. Okay? Sexual energy, creation energy is of the feminine. The feminine principle of the feminine is anything and everything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. Okay? So you take energy, you're pulling energy from a place where anything and everything is possible. Right? Just like electricity. Electricity powers a lot of things around us nowadays. A lot of things. Okay? But it's not the electricity itself. The electricity itself is what gives it light. Okay? So once you understand that, we understand that semen retention is a tool. And every day that we are harboring it, what happens is it starts to grow. It starts to grow. It starts to grow. But your job is to not house too much electricity. That's not your job. Your job is to infuse it into different structures. Right? So think about this. Right now, I'm talking to a computer, talking to my webcam. I have lights going on around me. I have a car. I'm staying in a house, right? All these things require electricity to make it function. But the electricity is powering different things. So that's how I want you to think about it. So it's your job to understand what structure am I building and what's the purpose of that structure. Just having those thoughts alone, what am I building? Why am I building it? Is the quickest way to get you into your masculine, because you're discussing what is my point A and what is my point B, and what are the results of that. Does that make sense? So again, semen retention energy, electricity, and then there's the part of you that you have to build your structure out. That's the masculine side. You have to build out the structure. So once you understand these things, what happens is they come together and you're able to create something beautiful. And you're like, wow. You start off very small with like little things, trying to lose some weight, maybe earn your first dollar online, just different things like that. And you realize that it happens, it comes true. So as long as you're pouring in time, attention, energy, right? Consistency, you have some wisdom, some dedication, it's going to happen. Some things are going to happen relatively short, within an hour, if you believe it. And then things are going to happen a little bit later. Also because of either the process or your beliefs. The Bible actually talks about this. I'm sure other religious texts do as well, because the principle itself is like an ancient spiritual technique, but it talks about this. What are some verses? There's one that says, seek first the kingdom of God and all shall be revealed. There's another one that says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. There's some other ones. If you're a person who always puts like the Bible or your religious followings in my comment section, put the verses down there actually that help us out some. Okay. But yeah, it talks about that. And especially what it's talking about, and the spiritual thing that it's talking about is it's talking about the controller of your life. So how could I put this? I want you to think about like a Rubik's Cube. Okay. A Rubik's Cube is like what? A 3x3? So Rubik's Cube is like a 3x3, and it twists and it turns up and down, left and right. But the Rubik's Cube that I want you to think about is I want you to think about one that is like 36 by 36. And it can twist in any direction, not just left and right. It goes up, down, diagonal, all this other stuff, curly Q, whatever, right? The whole point of why I'm saying that is I just need you to understand that it's complicated. There is no like pinpointing it because it's constantly moving all of the time. And so the thing that's constantly switching and moving and doing all this stuff are the thoughts that you have, the beliefs that you hold, the actions that you take. But again, just to reiterate how complicated this is, again, just by if we break down our thoughts, There is your conscious thought, there is your subconscious thought, and there's the unconscious thought. There's 3 layers. Beliefs are the same way. Unconscious beliefs, subconscious beliefs, conscious beliefs, right? It gets very complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts that you have to make sure is okay as you're going throughout these twists and turns, right? But again, this is these are advanced things. So the way that I tell beginners to get into this, to understand like the relationship they have with this complicated Rubik's Cube, right, is I tell them about the Dream Girl profile. What's the Dream Girl profile? The Dream Girl profile is very simple. You take a sheet of paper, you take a notebook, your phone, even if you want. As you're getting advanced, you're going to get a notebook. That's why I tell you guys, if you don't have a journal, you're not in the game. But you get a journal and you write down specific characteristics and attributes of a woman or your dream girl. So it'd be like, 5'3", curly hair, 2-parent background, white collar and interior design, right? Stuff like that. And what happens is when you lay her out, you write her all down. 5'3", I said curly hair, and you'll give it a specific color. So like black curly hair, and you'll name it all these things. You'll get specific. What happens is you start to, again, you believe it. You have to believe that's possible. You're pouring time, attention, and energy to it, which just doesn't require a lot. And then it goes into the Rubik's Cube. And the Rubik's Cube, what happens is like it hears you, and then it starts moving to create a pathway in your life. That way you can see this person. Okay. So what happens is, and again, if you believe it, it could happen within the next hour, right? It just depends. But I've had things happen in like a couple hours, and then I've had guys have things that happen in like 3 months, So one day you're going to be out, and you're going to be in the grocery store, or you're going to be doing something, and you're going to look to your left or look to your right, and you're going to see that exact girl that you wrote down. Now here's the trick about it, right? Because it's like a genie. So it doesn't give you exactly what you want. It can, but it doesn't give you exactly what you want because it has to calibrate. And so what it'll do, you wrote down 5'3", she'll be like 5'5", and she won't have curly hair, but she'll have like, it'll be a different type of curly. You know what I mean? Not the curly that you had in mind, but it'll be like a different type of curly. So then it's up to you to do 2 things. One, you're like, okay, to confirm it, like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Or B, to be like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Right? Now, again, you said when we write, let me tell you how complicated this gets and why this Rubik's Cube is your friend, but also it likes jokes. I just say that it likes jokes. So again, the reason why you say that is because you're going to have to confirm it or deny it. Most of the times when you write down this dream girl profile, 90% of you guys, if you meet this girl, you're not going to do anything about it because you said you wanted to see her. Now, if you said you wanted to date her, that's a completely different twist and turns. You see what I'm saying? It's like genie wishes. You can't ask for $100 because you'll get 100 male deer. You know what I mean? It's like that. So you have to get very specific on the things that you want. And again, this is one of those things where it's like, it's not a big deal, but at the same time, it is a big deal because if you could really lead yourself into bad places because you don't know how to speak English or you don't know how to walk or not walk, you don't know how to double check your work and double check the meaning of words that you're writing down. Okay. I'm sure this happens in different languages and it's all about just the intent. But again, it's very important that you understand that. So again, once you understand these things, what happens is the Rubik's Cube is going to move and it's going to set a path up for you. Whatever it is that you want, whatever you want. But on that path, it's not just like, oh, here's a straight line to get that thing. No, you have to prepare yourself for the thing that you're asking for. And in order to prepare yourself to ask for the things that you're asking for, you're going to have to learn certain truths that can be housed in darkness. Okay. A lot of you guys out there who's like, I want a bunch of women. I want to be a player. Right. But any player with experience will tell you there's a dark side to that. There is a darkness to that. You have to understand women at a completely different way than the average person understands them. And that's going to give you a different outlook on things. And when you speak to people in person about it, it can lead to not good things. And again, you guys understand things like this with things like semen retention, with like female nature. You can't just go out and publicly blab about this stuff. It doesn't make for good conversation. And so this is the same way. So whatever it is that you ask for, you have to understand that Rubik's Cube is going to start twisting and turning, lay out a pathway so you can grow and see different things. And here's where a lot of you guys are stuck at. A lot of you guys are stuck at the point where you're at the door that you have to face the truth, and you're not facing the truth. You're not facing it. And because you don't face it, you cannot grow. So you'll always be just right there about to grab what you're looking for, and you can't grab it because you haven't faced a truth that you have to face. Now, I can't tell you what that truth is, but most of the times your brain will tell you while I'm speaking about it. Because again, the Rubik's Cube or whatever led you to this video, which gave you certain thoughts that's going to influence your actions to get you to continue on the journey. This is why I say it's like super complicated. And while you start questioning whether you're in control or not, and I'm just going to give you the advice of don't even think about it. Don't think about it. Because, and again, when you study things like numerology, the true numerology, when you study things like that, you realize that this infinite void or whatever, it has 0 in it. 0 represents anything and everything. It's that energy. And it has 4 in it, which is structure. And so with 0, 3, and 4, I forgot to mention 3, but 0, 3, and 4, what happens is you enter what's called the realm of possibility. That's 3. 3 is the realm of possibility. Anything and everything is possible. Okay? Anything and everything is possible. So it's like, is it possible for me to get this girl's number? Yes. Is it possible for me to not get her number? Yes. Is it possible that she's going to flip out on me? Yes. Is it possible that she's going to be the nicest girl I ever met in my life? Yes. Is it possible that I can sleep with her in the next hour? Yes. Is it possible that I'll never ever be able to sleep with her? Yes. See what I'm saying? It's a nonstop game of yes, because it's possible. And so when you're thinking about it, what you're doing is you're just thinking like this, because whatever you want to be true will be true. Does that make sense? Again, this could be confusing. Just don't. The trap is for you to keep thinking about it, right? But the thing about numerology is you're supposed to go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. In order for you to do that, you have to be decisive, which is the masculine, because decisive is to cut something off. You understand? And while understanding, just to talk about 3 some more, which is the realm of possibility. Once you're escaping that, it's because you accept the possibility of whatever you want to happen. You grab the possibilities of what you want to happen and you move on to the next thing. That's like a lot of guys who get stuck in making a decision. But what about this? But what about this? But what about this? But what about this? And the realm of possibility is like, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, that could happen. It's funny, haha, now, but like in the moment, it's not very funny. Because you're like, oh, I'm scared. Like you have real emotions about these things. I'm afraid. Like I don't want to do these things. And it's like, you're going to have to do these things, you know? It's like, can you get on a plane tomorrow and it successfully gets to where it's going? Yes. Is it possible that it can crash? Yes. Which one do you want to focus on? You understand what I'm saying? So that's what you do. You're focusing on it. You're pouring more time, attention, and energy on the things that you do want to happen. And then let's say something does happen. It's your job to then fix that. Or to at least adapt, pivot, so it doesn't affect your trajectory of where you're trying to go. Does that make sense? So again, semen retention energy, it's electricity. You have to build out that structure. The easiest way to build out that structure is just talk about different areas of your life, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your purpose. And then you take that energy and it's going to flow through all of them, which is why you're going to want goals, which is why you're going to want a vision, because again, it's powering that. So whatever it is that you want, understand that you're being powered by that retention. Does that make sense? And then as long as you're going through that pathway, you're going to live a certain lifestyle. A person who has a 6-pack lives a certain lifestyle. A person who makes a bunch of money has a certain lifestyle. A person who runs a business has a certain lifestyle. So you're combining a bunch of different lifestyles, and that's going to affect your life as a whole. So it's constantly moving. And so you want to get in control as much as possible. And the way that you do that is by directing some of the limitless energy that you have every single day. Pouring into this area, pouring into this area, pouring into this area, pouring into this area, controlling your beliefs, controlling your own narrative, understanding that people are trying to hijack your consciousness so you can give them time, attention, and energy. Getting away from that, right? This gets deep. But the thing about it is, it's not made for you to get deep and know all the information. You're going to get stuck. It's designed for you to understand what you need to understand and move on to go where you're trying to get to. Does that make sense? How long is this video? 15 minutes. I think this is long enough. Listen, if you like this video, like you want to hear more about this, just comment down below part 2. But if you made it this far, type in learning. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.